Stop? Okay, stop. Ayun na ano? Ayun na yung mic. Akala ko binilang ako. Nahilaan din ako. Hello, mic test 1, 2, 3. Mic test 1, 2, 3. Is it audible? Is it clear to you now? Hello. Kulang ata sa charge yung isang microphone na yun eh. In fact, sumusunod lang ako sa kanya eh. Sabi niya, siya yung ano yung team for this retreat. No, this is the story of Zacchaeus, lessons that we can learn from Zacchaeus. And when he said it's about Zacchaeus, it's a beautiful invitation. Why not? Such story is so inspiring and we can draw a lot of lessons from Zacchaeus. This very word, passing through, it's already loaded, correct? When do you hear this? Passing through. Karirinig ko lang yan sa aeroplano eh. Passing through. And when I hear it, tatanungin na ako kung beef or chicken. And so, when you hear this word passing through, you get so excited. Because someone is passing through and that who passed through will give you something. You'll benefit something from it, from the passing through. Yeah, that's why when you hear this, the invitation is to be attentive. Passing through, so we have to be attentive. To be excited. But not only that, because this passing through, it's also a call to make way. A call to make way. Passing through. Pag nakarinig ka yan, when you hear that, you have to open a bit so that that person can pass through. Spiritually, this passing through is so beautiful because we have to make way for Jesus to pass through in our life. He's there, He's been telling us, I want to pass, I want to be there in your life. But are we attentive enough to heed that call and be able to say, you're welcome, Lord, to pass through? But not only to pass through. If you're there last night in our teaching night, the invitation is, in Italian it's so beautiful, it says, Resta qui con noi. Resta qui con noi, il sole scende già. Stay with us, O Lord, for the sun is almost done. The day is almost done. So, hopefully here, and we can learn it in talk number 3, Jesus is not just passing through, but that He meant to stay with us. So, this second talk, we will talk about Zacchaeus and how, in different perspective, he is known. The second session is about the moment of encounter. And there were many encounters that happened during that time. Just like today, you encountered so many people, and this is my first time to encounter this big group. Last night I encountered some of you, but this time, it's an opportunity to encounter each one. It's my first time to be here in Abu Dhabi. I've been in Qatar twice, I've been in Dubai, but just a tourist, not with MFC, just to see the beautiful places. But here with you, staying here for about 6 or 5 days, it's such a fruitful encounter. Why? Because in every encounter, we try to find something beautiful, a meaning, a perspective that is something beautiful. So, the moment of encounter, number 1, let us see how was Zacchaeus from the perspective of the crowd. From the perspective of the crowd. Sino ba si Zacchaeus sa mga tao? What do they say about Zacchaeus? How did they receive Zacchaeus? what are their impressions of Zacchaeus? Know what? It has been said that he has a small stature. I guess is barely 4 feet. Okay? I'm 6'1", so blessed to have this height. 6'1", you know? And I came from family na matatangkad, tall. My nephews and nieces are tall. My brothers and sisters are tall. My aunts and uncles are tall. So, it's a blessing. But what if you're 3'5", you're 4 feet? Okay? Well, Zacchaeus, they said, he is even below 4 feet. And therefore, you could say he has this dwarfism, maybe. And given that, just imagine the childhood he went through. When they were like picking, okay, who will be with my team? Me. You. And what happened to Zacchaeus? Left out. For who will get a midget? Who will get a dwarf? It would be to their disadvantage. And thus, he's always left out. He's not picked. Or, he's not even first choice. Maybe he's picked because wala na. No choice. Sige na nga. Always the last to be picked. The last. Or sometimes rejected. We don't need you. We're good without you. Pabigat ka lang. Panira ka lang. So, he experienced a lot of bullying. And the crowds around him, the friends surrounding him, fond of picking him. Bullying him. Making fun of him. Throwing jokes at him. He is the laughstock of the group. And he became what? The clown. And you know, this is how the crowd treated Zacchaeus even as a child. And as he was growing up, all the more, some people would not take him seriously because of his stature. And just imagine, during their time, they're pre-arranged in terms of marriage. Your father will take a wife for you. And I don't know if he was married or not. It wasn't said if he has a family or not. But just imagine the effort of Zacchaeus' father in order to what? Push someone to take Zacchaeus as husband. Maybe he offered a lot and tons of gold for them to be able to accept him. Tanggapin mo na, mayaman naman eh. Mayaman naman. And what would the girl say? Di bali na, inyo na yung yaman na yan. Okay? Maybe he felt so rejected all throughout. He was bullied, he was rejected, maltreated, not welcome from the very start, isolated, not picked. Just to make you understand how the people treated him. They were also lacking in charity. Because from the very start, they despised him because of his low, small stature. Poor guy. He grew up in that kind of environment. No one took him seriously. He is always what? Pang-joke lang yan. Joke lang yan. Yeah. And not only that, the people then, they would look at tax collectors not just an enemy, but mortal enemy of the Jews. Because they're working for the Romans. And what are they doing? They're trying to milk from them. Talagang they become milking cows. They have produced money. They are exporting from them. But how is the procedure? It's like the Roman chancellor will tell them and tell I need, let's say, 1 billion from this community, or let's say 1 million from this community. Okay? How you produce it, how much you produce, I don't care. Just give me 1 million. And then the tax collector, the chief tax collector, will be the one to find ways how to produce 1 million. And a lot of times it is done through extortion. Extortion. That's why people hated him. But how much would he earn? Well, that's a big question. Because if the Roman asked only for 1 million, he could raise 3 million. And he is richer than the Romans. That's why it's stated there, he is very wealthy. And the wealth is coming from extortion. That's why he was hated by all. He was avoided by all. All the more he wasn't welcomed. All the more he wasn't loved. All the more he was hated by the people. The mere sight of him made them vomit. Ganong kasaklap ang naging buhay nito. Well, to cut it short, he has a very negative reputation. Negative reputation. Yeah. The Roman taxes were so excessive, and it is collected by oppression, and they were able to pay the nation and use the money not for themselves, not for their state, not for their community, but to prosper more. Rome na nang-aabuso, nangungura, at lalo silang minamata. Imagine, ikaw pa ang nagpopondo para maliitin ka. Just imagine. Well, but Zacchaeus, he enjoyed the power. Zacchaeus was seen in that perspective. He can't do anything good because he is just a huge thief. Magnanakaw. Thief. And you can do nothing good. Well, yes, people were quick to judge. People were harsh on him. And that's how the people look at him. Well, given that, we try to analyze even our own selves. How am I different from the crowd? How am I different from the crowd? Have I put people in a box? Have I judged and criticized them harshly? To the point that we don't know, it ruined their life. They have traumas of their childhood because of you. How many people have we bullied so far? How are we in terms of having power? Am I what? Minsan sa atin, binigyan lang ng konting kapangyarihan. Akala mo siya na tagapagmana ng kumpanya eh. Diba? That harsh. How the power tripping. The power tripping is so terrible. Correct. Yeah. And that's why we also need to discern in this story. We don't just reflect on Zacchaeus, but we also try to find and see ourselves. Am I part of that crowd? Am I still doing that? Have I not matured? Am I still childish and would want to fool people, treat people badly? Am I like what? I recall even in the seminary where I am, when we were students, I have this classmate. And this classmate of ours, he has a huge head. Napakalaki ng ulo talaga niya. Kaya samot-saring salita o samot-saring pangalan ang tawag niya, yung Cabeza del Barrio, kasi napakalaki ng kanyang kabesa, ang pinuno, ang puno ng klase, ang ulo ng gapo, lahat na tinawag sa kanya. Well, anyway, because he has this big head, we made fun of him. We joke him a lot. And I'm good at that. I'm so sorry. And I'm good at bullying people when I was a seminarian, when I was a student. I'm so good at that, trying to make others laugh at the expense of one. at the expense of this brother. You know, but this brother of mine has a very beautiful tactic. I didn't forget that. Because one time, I hit him so badly in terms of name calling and joke, and we were all having fun. He just remained quiet, smiled. I thought it's okay. But no, that night before I sleep, he knocked at my door. And when I opened it, uy! I won't say the name, baka naka-online to, no? Uy, yeah. No, so, yes. So I asked, what about? And he said, are you happy? I am. Are you happy? Are you happy ruining my life? Are you happy making others happy? And what about me? No? So masaya na kayo. Masaya na kayo. Napaligaya mo silang lahat. He said. And he said this, sana lang, sabi niya gano'n, I hope faith will change where we are. And you'll be in my shoes for you to experience the treatment you are giving me. You know, with that, he simply said, I hope you have a good sleep. And I was lying on my bed. I couldn't sleep. I was so disturbed. And I was like, how he used the gospel message of fraternal correction. You go to that person and tell that person yourself. It's so effective. He did that to me. And the following day, I couldn't forget that because I was trying to cope up or make up with him. So I was trying to be more pleasing and more charitable to him. And I said, I won't do it again. I won't do it again. I tried, but I still did it. but the conscience is clear. The conscience is there. Nakukonsyensya talaga ako each time I do that. You know, he went out of the seminary. I miss him terribly. Now he's a family man. You know, and now that I am in the seminary, you know, and have the position to choose who will be the professors, I got him. Because he's so intelligent. May kasabi nga, magkamalaki ulo, matalino, di ba? He is very intelligent. He is very intelligent. And know what? You know, he was professor in LaSalle, professor in San Beda, professor in UST. He couldn't get regularized. Not because he's bad, but because of his principle that he would always fight for his co-workers, that he became the mouthpiece, that he would always confront superiors whenever they are not performing well or they are violating particular workers. They have become that mouthpiece, and therefore he is what was labeled rebellion. It won't be a good asset to the institution because we're keeping a critic with us. He wasn't regularized in those reputable institutions because I know why. Because of his principle, because he worked so hard to be the mouthpiece of the people who are disadvantaged or abused by others. And he is so willing to pagsanggalan yung kanyang posisyon, and he doesn't care. What he cares is that justice be served. Justice be served. Yeah. That's why I got him. And he teaches social teachings of the church. Because he doesn't only teach, he walked the talk. And the seminarians would learn so much from him. So imagine that, you know. And let me tell you again another perspective, you know, that from that crowd, I had also this experience. I'll be more mindful of the time. You know, when I was in high school, one of my classmates was able to get a test paper from the faculty room. I don't know how, but he has the test paper. And he couldn't answer it because, hindi naman katalinuhan, kaya nga, mas sumikat maparaan para makapasa That's why he was able to get a test paper. And what did he do? He photocopied the test paper and gave each one of us, provided we will all answer the question. And I was like, sige, okay yan. So we answered the test paper. And we were memorizing the answer from 1 to 50. Okay? But before the examination day came, a girl stood in the class and said, "Classmate, I don't feel good about this. This is so wrong. Can we just tell our teacher that accidentally we're able to get a test paper without revealing the real score, and what? That if she could just change the test." And people were like, "Palibhasa, matalino, hindi na kami inintindi, makasarili yan, sakim yan. Ako naman, oo nga. No, my classmates were telling, you're being selfish because you're genius, you're intelligent, you can pass this so easily, and you don't think of us. Okay? Shut your mouth. If you don't want to take the exam, don't take the exam. If you don't want to take the test paper, then don't take the test paper. Huwag mo na kami idamay dyan. Ikaw na lang, buwisit ka. Oh, that was the attitude. So examination day came. Lo and behold, it's the same test paper. So, of course, the professor would know. She knows our capacity. So we didn't perfect it. I, on my part, did not perfect it. At least maka-85, okay na. Correct. But the very reason of the teachers that we have, papunta pa lang kayo, pauwi na ako. That kind of, I've been there, I've done that, I know all the tricks, you can't fool me. So, she realized something bad happened and there was cheating in the class. So the following day, during our time with her, she has another set of test paper. And on the spot, she gave a paper to each one and said, "Answer this. Your first exam is invalid. Just answer this." And the moment of truth. The moment of truth. No, because it's mathematics. If you know the principle, you can answer it. So it's the same principle, he just changed the number. And when the numbers are changed, definitely, the answers are different. Bokya. And afterwards, what happened? People were so angry, my classmates were so angry. But their eyes were only looking at one point, towards the girl who stood up. And they were like, "She squealed us. She told the teacher." Because we are united with this. Sino bang kontra dito? Siya lang naman, di ba? Buwisit na babaeng yan. And most of my classmates made a pact to ruin her high school remaining days. Because we're about to graduate then. And too bad. She was so violated in many ways. Her books were torn, her bags were vandalized. She would go home with bubble gum on her hair. Terrible. And no one would want to get near her because if you're identified with her, you're also blacklisted. So she was so alone. Good thing it's nearing March and it's the end of the school year. Well, graduation came, we parted ways. And after some years, I was in MRT, and standing, she's sitting in front of me. And I said, "Hoy, kamusta ka? How are you?" She said, I'm good. And you?" "Oh, I'm also good." And I said, "So, what career did you, where are you now?" And she said, Oh, I'm working in a firm. And I asked, what firm? Law firm. Naging attorney? Naging abogado? Sabi ko, oh, congratulations! Hindi ako makatiis eh. Nagtanong na ako, huy, ba't tanda mo when we were in high school? Ikaw ba talaga yung nag-chuchu, nag-squeal? Ikaw ba talaga yung nagsumbo? And she said, no, I did not. No, I did not. Oh, why did you not defend yourself? You were so passive then, accepting all, the rejection, the violations. And she was like, well, what can I do? You made up your mind that it's me. I've been trying to tell you I did not do that. I love the class. You're all my friends. But since you weren't listening, you already put me in a box. What can I do? But she said, but don't be sorry. That helped me discern what I want in life. And that is why I became a lawyer. Because of that. Sabi ko, oh. So before parting ways, I said, I have to say sorry to you. Sorry for what? Well, sorry for not hearing you. Sorry for not opening myself. I was so convinced you did that. And I said, sorry. And now she asked me, and what has become of you? And I said, nagpapari ako. Oh, you're becoming a priest. Yeah, I'm trying to be. So before we parted ways, I said, sorry ha, alam mo, maliit lang naman, pero yung isang bubble gum sa buhok mo galing sa akin. Maliit lang naman yun. Wala na yun. We became friends. Yeah. Bullied. Isolated. But what happened to her? She did not succumb to it. She made a difference. And she was able to see what Catriona Gray said about that silver lining. Amidst this troubled, burdened, confused, evil, bad world, there's still that silver lining. And she held on to that. Now when we invite you to go to Zacchaeus, of how he see himself, his perspective of himself. And given this background, he was so bullied, he tried to find ways to be one, to be somebody. Given the small stature, he became ambitious. And he said, I won't let this happen again. But in his mind, it's different. Because in his mind, it's retaliation. I will come back to you. I will crush you. I will punish you. I will make you kneel. I'll never forget the very people who hurt me, maligned me. I will come back to you when I get that chance. That's why he worked so hard not to be an ordinary tax collector. He became the chief tax collector. And what he did, he became uncharitable to people. Because if you have a heart and a family is like crying, please don't take our money. It's for my infant. It's for my children. He doesn't have the heart. I don't care. Why? Did you have a heart for me? Did you sympathize with me? I remember you. You're the very person who tricked me. You're the very person who hurt me most. And he did that to all. He was so proud at what he is doing. And he was like achieving something in life. It made him what? Rebellious. Vengeance is his name. Naghiganti. And that what? And that's Zacchaeus. Given the opportunity, rest back. Binalikan. Binalikan. Yeah. But, was he happy? Maybe at first. When he found himself wealthy, I have everything, and what? You're all subordinate to me. You need to beg. You need to kneel down and plead. I love that. I love when people are begging. I love when people are kneeling. I love when they're asking for mercy. But did he give it to them? Never. Never. But was he happy? Was he at peace? No. Because there's a vacuum in his heart. His life is empty. The material possessions cannot make him happy. Well, I guess the happiness that he experienced are fleeting. It's not permanent. It comes and it goes. It's instant and it's gone so easily. And that's his life, full of emptiness. The vacuum is so deep. He longs for meaning in his life. He longs for genuine relationship. Was he alone? I guess not. Because if you have money, you'll be surrounded by people. But guess what? These people will be with you if supply lasts. If you can give any more, they'll be gone. And they're what? They don't have loyalty. Because it's not friendship. Because they just benefited from you. They can get something from you. That's why they stuck with him. And they will do that so long as they can get something from him. And so what? He surrounded himself with people. Yes, he bought them all with gifts, with money. But who would ever stay with him? Naturally, spontaneously? I guess none. He longs for that relationship, who will truly accept him for who he is. A beautiful lesson in the life of Zacchaeus. Not money, not success, not wealth, not even vengeance, not even what? Retaliation, ganti. It will never make you happy. It won't make you happy. What made you happy? What makes you happy? What? Then we try to find what will make me happy. Yeah. What are the other characteristics of Zacchaeus? Given his small stature, hearing that Jesus is passing by, he did something because he is a go-getter. If I want that, I can get that. If I want to see Jesus, I will see Jesus. And that is why when he heard of it, he is very small, and people would not want to make what? Make way and say, sige, kawawa naman tong unanong ito, hindi makita si Jesus, paunahin nyo na sa unahan. Never! All the more he's kicked out, all the more he's like pushed and said, don't go near me. Okay? You're not welcome here. Find your own place. That's why he needed to climb a tree. And he climbed that sycamore tree. But quite persistent. Very persevering. Very persevering. And that's what we need to do. To be like him. To be persevering. Never to be a quitter, but will always seek opportunities. And if I want to see Jesus, I will see Jesus. He has a focus, and he keeps that focus until he succeeds. He was able to see the Lord. And that's Zacchaeus. Additionally, with that, he was trying to find, as I said, meaning of life. Meaning in his life. Because deep within, I know, he's very eager to know the truth of his life. And what about life? That he was made to live and not just to exist. To live and not just to exist. And how it is to truly live. How are we living? That's a big question. Are we living or are we just existing? You know how is it to exist? To exist is to occupy space. Anong silbi mo sa buhay? Occupying space lang? Do you have a value? Are you living your life fully? Or you're contented existing? Existing with what? Like an object, occupying space? No. But the beautiful invitation is to find meaning. And a life with meaning, sabi nga, a life without reflection is, nakalimutan ko yung proper term, pero is not worth living. We find worth, we find meaning in life when we try to see and try to see the purpose of our existence, the purpose of our life. And you know what? All of us can hear, correct? You know, I'm PWD, I have hearing deficiency. You know, twice I got operated on my right ear. Okay, at first they took the hearing, the ear bone, they took it. Okay, and then they tried to repair some part here because from the brain there's something dripping and it goes through the ear. Okay, so they repaired it, they took away the ear bone, and after a year, you know, I was deaf. Deaf ba yung tawag doon? Yung bingi? Yep, I was deaf for 1 year on my right ear. Okay? When you're deaf, you hear your voice so loud. That's why when you're deaf, the tendency is either to shout or to whisper. You whisper because you can hear yourself so loudly. You shout because you cannot hear even yourself. Extreme. And after a year, they put back the ear bone, but you know, the body would not want to accept it. So they made a cartilage and it became my ear bone. And so, what am I saying is, I can only hear like 30% on my right ear, but perfectly on my left ear. So if you want to go to confession and you don't want me to hear clearly, you know where to go, which side to go. And I would simply, okay. So going back to that deafness, and you only hear yourself, you know, patay ko nawala. That's a terrible experience, you know. But you know, a beautiful experience. It becomes part of me, okay? May hearing aid na ako pero paminsan-minsan ko lang ginagamit. Okay? Paminsan-minsan lang ginagamit. Yeah. So, life. I was talking about life. The deaf. You know how they would do that sign language of what life is? It's this. And when you do that, that's life. And when you look at it, symbolic, it's full of theology. Huh? Can you queen? 2 hands. You did this. When you do that, you're saying life. But look at it, it's so beautiful because you're first one, pointing upward. Because you recognize that life is from God. He gave it to me. And the life He gave to me, in order for it to be life, it has to go out and share. That life reach its fullness and it becomes life when it does not end with you, but that it should go out And when it goes out, then life is complete. And that's what life is all about. When we know how to acknowledge, it comes from God, it came from you. You have gifted me with this beautiful life, and this life will never be just for me. It will not remain with me, but that it will go, because that's the natural process of life. It has to come out. That's why even in philosophy, the fullness of man is realized with the other. Man is never self-existent in terms of what, tumiral kang nag-iisa, para ka lang sa sarili mo. As we say, no man is an island. Because if you are alone, then that's the worst that could happen to you. Isolation. But the worst part is, you're not isolated in terms of being with the crowd, but how people treat you, you're isolated. That's worse. And that's Zacchaeus. That no matter what he do, he is never accepted. He was trying to find meaning of life. And that meaning of life first began in terms of acknowledging. It came from him. And he was trying to find meaning. He was trying to find answer. That's why he climbed the tree, because he's seeking for meaning. He's seeking for answer. And it must be with this man. I heard so much of him. How he gives life. How he explains life. How he lived his life is the kind of life I want to have. He's surrounded by genuine people. People were flocking at him. He did not pay them. And I was paying so many to be with me. I was doing all the parties so that my house would be filled with people. But at the end of the day, there's no genuine friendship. And how this man attracted so many. So many would want to be his friends. So many were following him, calling him different names. Messiah, Son of God, King. You must be great. That life I want. And that's why he climbed the sycamore tree, searching for this man, trying to figure out, what does he do? How did he get that? I want that. I want life. Because where I am, it's never life. I just exist. I'm object to others. I don't have life. And in that sycamore tree, he had a glimpse of what life is. And that it's so beautiful when he saw the Lord. Because he saw not just amazed, but the desire in his heart was filled. I want that. I want that. And I hope I could be one of them. I could be a friend too. I could follow him too. I could enjoy the company, the friendship of someone. He longs for that. This is Zacchaeus. He wants life. He tried to find life. But what he got? An artificial life. But he wants a genuine life. And now we go to the perspective of Jesus. How does Jesus see Zacchaeus? Well, when Jesus reached the spot, he looked up and said, Zacchaeus, come down immediately. I must stay at your house. So he came down at once and welcomed him gladly. He was trying to see Jesus. And what happened is a reversal. Jesus saw him first. Because Jesus realized what he did. Because a man of his age, a man in his position, will never do that. Because yes, only a child will climb a tree. Only children are doing that. But Jesus saw something deep because he wants to be a child of God. He wants to belong to the children of God. And he saw that effort because at that point, Zacchaeus already disrobed himself of dignity. Kahit anong sabihin nyo, kahit sabihin nyo para akong bata, kahit sabihin nyo siraulo ako, walang makapipigil sa akin. And that's what he did. Disrobed himself of dignity, of pride. He was just humble. Humble in front of Jesus. Like a child wanting to see the Lord. And Jesus looked at him with compassion because that stare, that gaze is something. And that mere look, it made Zacchaeus' day, for he was acknowledged by the Lord. Looking at him, because that look I could never forget. Because that look is not a look of ridicule. It's not a look of criticism. It's not a look of hatred. He is not angry with me. I can feel he looks at me with love. And he could know that because he's so used to the people's look. He's so used to the look of the other. Furious, angry, may muhi. But that look is different. It penetrated my heart. Alam mo yan eh, pag yung titig sa'yo, may ibang intensyon, ramdam mo. Pero pag yung titig may pagmamahal, ramdam mo rin. Ramdam ni Zacchaeus, the look of Jesus. Sold na siya nun. Nakita na niya. Tinitigyan siya. But so beautiful what Jesus did, because Jesus said, "Come down, Zacchaeus. I must be in your house." It's not an invitation. Jesus did not invited himself. He forced himself in Zacchaeus' heart. I must be in your house. I must be there. I must be there. Because Jesus knows exactly what he needs. I must be there. Because he felt the life of Zacchaeus, and it's a life of isolation, life of sadness, life of desperation. And he comes to cure that as he offers himself as the antidote to isolation, antidote to the hatred and anger in his heart. He comes to heal, and he comes to fill up the vacuum, what is lacking in his life. I must be there. He did not resist it. Overwhelmed with joy, welcomed the Lord, and immediately a party happened in the house of Zacchaeus. See? I guess many people were whispering to Jesus, don't look at him. Why? He's just a fly. He's just a dust. Alikabok lang yan. Langaw yan. Wala yang kwenta. And did Jesus listen to the criticism? Did Jesus listen to the bad words of other people? No. He didn't talaga? Because He knows us true and true. He knows us true and true. And you know what? Maybe Jesus knows us better than we know ourselves. He knows us better than we know ourselves. And He's also unstoppable because people were like, do not even enter His house. Do you imagine what is the effect of that? It will ruin you. How can you enter a sinner's house? How can you have sympathy for the enemy of this town? How can you accept him when people were like, sinusuka siya, disowning him? It will ruin your reputation. The next thing you would know, you will not be welcome like this. They will question you. Your reputation is at hand here. And if you're the PR group of Jesus Christ, you will advise him, no, never, never. It will ruin you. It will ruin your character. It will damage you. It will damage your reputation. It's not a good PR. But is Jesus like what? Conscious of his PR? Conscious of how people will get him? How people will like what? He's like, is he preoccupied with what others will tell about him? No. It doesn't matter. Because what matters is, I showed love. He needs me. I am there for him. Regardless of what others will say. Regardless if you will hate me because of this. Because I'm convinced of what I'm doing. Because I know this is right. And looking at that, how many times we have acted contrary to how Jesus acted. Because we're so conscious of our own stature, conscious of our own character, personality. If I like associate myself with them, what will they say? If I welcome him, what will others tell about me? Birds of the same feather flock together. Huwag kang sasama dyan, malandi yan eh. Pagka sumama ka, malandi ka rin. Malandi ka ba? Huwag sasama dyan, malandi yan. Mag-ingat-ingat ka mga chismosa yan. Pag nakabilang ka dyan, chismosa ka na rin. Do we act like that? You know, if you associate yourself with them, you belong to them, you're one of them. Okay? So try to choose your friends. Try to choose the people you're going with. You try to be more conscious because you know what others will say. You will earn bad reputation after doing that, so you be conscious. Choose the people you will be with. But Jesus is not like that. He chose to love. Not mindful of what others will say. In fact, it brought him to what? True. He ended up what? With bad repute. He ended up what? Accused of what? Eating with sinners. Why? Because he's a sinner too. Manipulative too. He comes to utilize people too. He's no different from them. He enjoys their company because he's one of them. In fact, he's the leader of this gang. But what? Conscious? Never. Because he knows what is right. And how many times do we find ourselves so conscious of what others will say? That's why I did not do it. I recall, I was like, because I'm procurator of the seminary, I'm vice rector, my classmate is the rector, we divided the work. He's in charge of formation as rector. I'm in charge how they will live. So I took care of the food, electricity, water, finances, budgeting, staff, HR. I do all the dirty works in the seminary. I do all the dirty works. Okay? Tapos may sideline pa akong NFC, di ba? Ang saya. No? Overwork. Totoo overwork. One time, I was doing marketing. And so that the seminarians would have a feel of what we're doing, I would encourage some of them to go with us and to do marketing. Tinda-tinda kami. And, bili kami sa palengke. We went to Balintawak early in the morning to buy food. Okay? Because it's cheap in that market. I was moving that way and one seminarian was like, Father, dito tayo. Why? Eh, dito ako bibili. Mas mura dito, may mas mura dito. There's cheaper on this side. And I was like, okay. But I looked back and saw someone familiar. Okay? And who did I see? Nagkakasal, "Huy! Nanay mo yun eh! Nanay mo yun! It's your mom!" And he was like, "Opo." I was so eager to go and greet the mother. She was selling fish in Balintawak. And I was like so happy to see. But the seminarian felt different. He was pushing me to go to the other side so that I won't see her, his mom. Why? Are you ashamed of what your mother is doing? You don't want me to see her selling fish in the market? Why? It's dignified. It's dignified. And I was like, he didn't tell me the reason. But I was assuming that could be the reason. And so when we come back, I talked to him. And when we're having talk, why did you not want me to go to that side? You know that your mom is there? Why? Are you ashamed of her? She's so quiet. And I was like, I'm ashamed of you. I'm ashamed of you. Kinahihiya kita. Kapal ng mukha mo, ikahiya yung nanay mo. Bakit? Dahil nagtitinda lang siya sa palengke? You should be ashamed of yourself. Because she brought you with that. And look how she worked hard. It's early in the morning. And I was like, please. I'm so happy to see your mom. And you're feeling so different. You should be eager to see your mom. But he wants to dissociate himself. For what? Why? Bakit? Maarte eh. No? Astang mayaman eh. Nakita ko yung katotohanan. At sasabihin ko, peke ang buhay niya. Hindi ka dapat ganyan. Nagpasalamat ako, I saw the mom. And I told him, huwag ka mag-inarte. Hindi ka anak ng mayaman. Mahiyak sa sarili mo. Huwag mong ikahiya kung anong kinabuhay sa inyo. Pag malaki mo yun, shame on you. Magpapari ka, ganyan ka. Shame on you. Pag di mo binago yan, I told him, I'll kick you out of the seminary. Hiya. Jesus was never like that. He wasn't like, huwag tayo dito, huwag tayo dito, huwag tayo dito. No! But He accepts us and loves us, who we are, where we are. So Jesus decided to come to the house of Zacchaeus. He didn't care about how the crowd reacted. And Jesus obligated Zacchaeus. Jesus obligates us to focus on Him. It's not a request, but that it is His desire. Why? Because He knows that if we accept Him, we will be in the right path. We will never go wrong. He only meant what is good for us. He's never manipulative, but that He wants to bring the right ordering in our life. Right ordering. And that's why He said, I must be in your house. When you try to think of it, there's, of course, love God above all things. Love your neighbor as yourself. To love God above all things. And there's this saying in the Bible, who doesn't hate father, mother, brothers, or sister because of me is not worthy of me. Let me just explain. Yes, God is a jealous God. True. But His jealousy is something beautiful because He wants for you to prioritize Him. Why? Because in terms of loving, if you put Him on top, if He will be the priority, He will bring about right ordering of your love. Right ordering of your life. Why? Because if your love is not from Him, and it's just from you, your love is what? Wanting. Your love is what? Conditional. Your love is what? Imperfect. Our love is imperfect. Our love sometimes impure. Our love sometimes conditional. I love you if you will love me. I'll give you if you will give me. That's why we seek to be affirmed. That's why we seek. Hindi man ako pinasalamatan, buisit. But God's love is never like that. That's why He's telling us, if you put me on top, I'll bring about right ordering. And the kind of love you will give them is not just coming from you, but coming from me. Because my love is perfect. My love is unconditional. My love is true. And that's why even in terms of loving each other, it's not just how I love, but how God loves. Because our love, our capacity to love on our own is self-seeking. But we should get it from God because His love is never like that. It's so genuine. Imagine, what can you give God that is not His? What can you add to God? Nothing. Kala mo, kaya tayo nilikha, kailangan niya ng servants. We were created because He needed servants. He needed worshipers. He needed slaves. He needed people. He doesn't need anyone. He's enough. He is perfect. He doesn't need you. Our prayers add nothing to His greatness. Even if you like, pray 24 hours kneeling down, it doesn't add anything to Him. So, what can we do? What can we add to God? Nothing. But why did He created us? Nagka-problema pa siya nung nilikha tayo. Namatay pa yung anak niya nung nilikha tayo. Because He simply wants to give. He simply wants to love. We cannot give God anything. Because God suffices. God is enough. But in creating us, He shared His life. And that's the genuine sense of love. Because in love, you don't like seek what you can get from the beloved, but that you give the best to the beloved. That's love. Never self-seeking. But just your joy is to love and to give. And that's the true essence of love, benevolence, to wish the best for the beloved. And that's how God loves. And that's why here, what did Zacchaeus do? Something beautiful. Because he surrendered everything when he received the Lord. Because even at that point, he declared, "You're more than enough for me. I don't need this. I only need you." And you feel, you're my well, you're my precious, you're my gem, you're my all. Solo Dios, basta. God is enough. And it's there that Zacchaeus found contentment, genuine joy, not just a fleeting happiness. He found it with God. Yeah. Wow. That person that Jesus saw and demanded to stay accepted Him. And from then on, a revolution happened in the house of Zacchaeus, the revolution of love. I'll end the second session with that, and will pose questions for our reflection. Do I believe that Jesus knows me by name, and I'm not taken as a generic? That's a beautiful question. Why? You realized you're nameless to other people. Consider that. And guess what? They will seek your name when they will use you. Sino nga ba yun? Sino nga ba yun? May sister tayo eh. May sister tayo nagtatrabaho sa sa embassy eh. May kailangan ako dun eh. Kinikilala kasi kailangan. Pag di kailangan, the who. Carry ko dyan. Sino ba yan? But Jesus doesn't treat us that way. We have a name. And Jesus calls us by name. Because we're not generic in Jesus. He comes to us personally. And He knows us. Do you believe that Jesus comes to you personally? And He knows you through and through. He doesn't consider you generic. You're special. you're valued. The second question is, what is Jesus calling me to come down? To come down from pride? To come down from fear? To come down from isolation? To come down from my comfort zone? Have I put myself up in that pedestal that Jesus is asking me to come down, or else I will fall and get hurt? Where am I? Am I so up there that Jesus is inviting me, come down, level up, dito tayo. Baba ka. Ang tayo mo, baba ka. Baba ka. Taas ng standard mo. Di mo ba nakita yung anak mo? Hirap na. Hirap na. Good grades naman. Di ka satisfied. Kailangan honor. Bakit? Yung anak ng kuya mo honor eh. Dapat honor ka rin. Para hindi sabihin, bobo tayo. Dapat mas mataas ka. Dapat mas matalino ka. And so what? You're pushing. Baba. Baba ka. Hirap na sila. Ang taas ng standard mo. Ang hirap mong paligayahin. Baba ka. Baka kailangan bumaba. At sa pagbaba, doon mo mararamdaman, saya pala dito. Masaya doon. Baba ka. Ang tayo mo eh. Gusto mo achiever ka eh. Gusto mo lahat ng pera nasa iyo eh. Eh ano, nakukompromise yung pamilya. Quality time with them. Baba ka. Mas kailangan ka ng anak mo kaysa ng trabaho mo. Baba ka. And the invitation to come down, do you hear Jesus asking you, go down. You have put so high standard with you. You want to achieve so much in life. But then Jesus is making you realize, it's not there. Just go down. And when you go down, you will see and find where happiness lies. How do I respond when others judge my journey with God? Because there will be critic. The crowds will be there. And the crowds will persuade you, kapal ng mukha, pa-MFC pa. Diyos ko, kung alam mo lang yung buhay niyan, hindi mo yan pwede mautangan ng walang tubo. Many people will judge you. But what? You will stop. You will say, ayoko na nga. Hindi na nga alam. Kung ano sinasabi nila. Do not. We have our own past life. We have our own old life. But the invitation is to be a new man. As St. Paul invites us, recognizing his old man. I was persecutor of Jesus, but I am different now. I am a disciple of the Lord. Right. So there will be persuasions. But continue. How do I respond when others judge my journey with God? Yeah. And so we try to imagine ourselves in a sycamore tree, desiring to see who Jesus is. And as he passing through, he looks at me, smiled, and said, I must be in your house. How will you respond with that? And when you're on your own in your silent reflection, go back to those words. I want to be with you. I must stay in your house. We will spend 5 minutes in silence to try to penetrate those questions and talk to Jesus. We can have some reflective music.